Alrighty, welcome everyone to day 5 of Advented Code. 30 seconds here. We'll get started in just a minute. I have everything set up, I believe. Code's here. Waiting for the day to start for the input. Hopefully today's goes better than the past two have. The past two have been bad. It's just been not as clean as I like. Hopefully I can take what I've learned from the past 2 days, read the question a little bit more carefully, and code a little bit more carefully as well. But at any rate, 3 seconds here for day 5. Let's get into it. Copy our code, or copy the puzzle input here, and let's get started, shall we? Alright. You come across a field of hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor. These vents constantly produce large, opaque clouds, so that it'd be best to avoid them if possible. They tend to form in lines. The submarine hopefully produces a list of nearby lines of vents. Puzzle inputs review, for example. Each line of vents is given as a line segment in form of x1. Okay, that makes sense. Where the coordinates of each line, yep. At both ends, in other words, an entry like covers, yeah, so it goes through, yeah. Only consider horizontal and vertical lines. Lines were either, okay, so these are all going to be horizontal or vertical, okay. Of this are produced the following diagram. Okay. Confident corner 0, 0. The bottom right corner is 99. Each position is shown in the number, as the number of lines which cover that point, or if no line. Okay. To avoid the most dangerous areas, you need to determine the number of points where at least one line overlaps. Total 5 points. Consider how many points, so we gotta figure out where there's multiple lines. Okay. Not bad. So we just got to convert to this, shall we? Okay. Alright, so let's start with, let's just go through all of our inputs. And let's first trim it, or, no, sorry. It's just to replace, and that's not a trim. So remove all the spaces out of this, and then let's go ahead and then split on this weird character piece. You don't need to replace, we could just split like that. That would also do us good. And so these are going to be the points. I call this line points. Sure. Okay. And then we're good there, and then so we have the start and end. So what we're gonna do, let's just create a quick class real quick. This is gonna be a point. This might be a little bit easier. Might make my logic a bit easier in terms of how this is gonna work. So we're gonna have this be here, that way we can create a list of points. Actually, it's not gonna be a list, it's gonna be a map of point, and then the integer, so this is how many times it has been gone over. We'll just call this points. I can't type today. There we go. So here's our points. So now we need constructor. Int x, int y. Hey, that was slow. And then this dot x equals x. This dot y equals y. Good. And we're also going to need a. Oh, it's not gonna let me do this. We're going to need a equals. We're also going to need a hash code. So it's actually going to do this for me, isn't it? Yeah. We need this because it's a map, so that we need the hash code because the hash code is needed for maps. Just know that. Give me a sec, sure. Alright, so points. So what we can do is we can go ahead and do another string array here. So this is going to be point 1 is going to be if I do capital L line points 0 split on that. And then we can do point p equals new point, and it's gonna be 0.1 0, and we're at the integer parse this. Okay, and then so it's gonna be x, and there's y. Oops. And then 0.2 is pretty easy because it's now going to be 0.2, 0.2. Sure, like that. And so this is also easy because they're all vertical, horizontal, so we can just do as a check here. If p1 dot x does not equal p2 dot x, do that. Otherwise, we're going vertical. And we can just do a for loop here. So for int I equals p math dot min. We gotta do this way. Math dot min of p1 dot x, p2 dot x. I is less than the opposite of this, the max. I plus plus, and we're gonna go ahead and just do a new point, and instead it's going to be let's call it point P, and it's going to be P1 dot X plus I P1 dot Y. And then what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna go do points dot computive absent points dot it doesn't really matter, so we're gonna just do this way. Computive present, if it's present, just do oh, it's not p, it's gonna be value. Sorry, it's p, but then it's the value, and it's just gonna be value plus 1. Right? Be present. All right, I'm gonna do this long way. I'm just whatever. 0. If points dot has key. No, points dot has key. What? Contains key. P, what we're going to do is we can just do value equals points get P plus 1, and then do points put and P and value. There we go. Okay, so that should handle that, and easy enough to do the second bit, which is just going to be to the y's. Oh, this doesn't need to be done that. Let's just quickly convert that to be a nice little variable. Done like that. We can also do it here for the y min. This is just going really slowly, but at any rate. And then, so it's going to be P1x is fine, but now it's going to be y min plus 1. And there we go. And so now we just need to, as it asks for the number of lines which cover at least 2 lines overlap. Okay. So now we just need to go through all of them in points. So the key sets. Start at 0, and then we're just go through this. And we're going to do if points get P is greater than 1 count plus plus, and go ahead and then output that count there. Let's see if we got this right, shall we? 866 or 868. No, I am not correct. All right, let's go ahead and plug in the sample. I got 1. That's not right. Oh, but because it goes to the end, technically, which is what I'm not doing. Technically, that's still not going to be correct, though. Oh. Only consider them. Oh, so there's lines that aren't. Ah. Okay, so we need to ignore, so we have to do a check here if, so this is the problem. Okay, so actually this should be this way, because if they're equal, we'll do that. Then up here we need to do the y's. So this little check, so if the y's are equal, we want to do the x's. If the x's are equal, we'll do the y's. Okay, so redo that. We're still good, only 1. Oh my goodness, it's because I'm doing, alright, I see my problem. I'm dumb. Oh, I was doing dumb mistakes, I swear. Dumb mistakes are gonna kill me. This should have been done so much quicker. Wow. Dumb mistakes, dumb mistakes. Alright, unfortunately, considering horizontal designs does not give you a full picture, you need to also consider diagonal lines because of the limits of the hydrothermal vent mapping system lines, and your list will only ever be a horizontal, vertical, or diagonal line at exactly 45 degrees. Determine the number of points where these 2 lines overlap. Okay. And this is going to be, I'll just do this here because this is technically the part 2 bit. I'm just going to do this all in one here because it's the same. It's the same logic, but it's just going to be here's part 2. I might clean this up later to do both parts at once, but for quickness here, we're going to do it this way. Okay. So if it's a 45-degree angle, it's going to be the same amount of steps. So, we are going to need to do X-min and Y-min. Oh, that's not going to work. Because if it's going to be, yeah, we can't do X-min, Y-min. How is this gonna go? So we can do steps. So this is the distance between. And then point here will be this. Let's see if this works. If it's going from 3 to 7. We actually want 0.2 minus 0.1. This doesn't matter, it's the same, but we're gonna do this way anyways. So here's the X direction, here is the Y direction. So we're gonna do X direction, and then the same exact thing for the Y. This should hopefully give it to us to where it's gonna then go to that. So now if we run this, hopefully this gives us our answer. Nope, okay. Back to the example code then. What should this give us? This should give us 12 points. Only gives us 8, okay. So one of these must be wrong. So it's gonna be, oh, duh. Right. Sorry, that was why. Also, these are still X's, by the way. This is all wrong. This is all bad. Okay. Try this again. 9. Better. Because 2 is greater than 1, so yeah, it's going in the positive direction. Oh, this needs to be multiplied by I. That is also missing. There we go. All right. And that should be my answer. Hey, okay. Better still was not the best. Yeah. That was just dumb mistakes. Dumb mistakes. Okay. All right, let me clean this up a bit, and then I'll come back and explain my code what it's doing. So 1 second. Okay, so I did a little bit of cleanup, nothing major, just enough to just enough to have both individual parts kind of there. But at any rate, so the gist of today's problem is that we're given an input, which is a bunch of points that kind of represent a line. When those lines are kind of graphed onto a grid or a graph, we will get a bunch of points and where they intersect. And the goal of the first part is to figure out where what points or how many points on this graph are intersected by, well, more than one line. That first part only deals with just horizontal and vertical lines. But the first thing we do for both parts, though, is we actually convert that input. We take the input out, we split it, do some kind of splitting and all that to get our points, and we build up this kind of this map of 2 points to define a line. So here's the first point, second point defines the line. For part 1, we go through all those lines and we take all the points. And since we're only dealing with vertical and horizontal, we do a check to see if the y coordinates are the same. If they are, that means we have a horizontal line. From there, we can go do our math to get the minimum x position, and then go from minimum x position to the maximum x position and add all of those points on that line into our overall points map here that keeps track of all the points as well as how many times the line goes through them, which is what this bit of code here does, is it gets the existing value in this map. If there is none, it just defaults to 0, and then we add 1 to that, so that way it starts at 1, or you add 1 to the existing value of how many times it's been the point's been visited, I guess. The other half of this is the x's. If the x's are equal, that means now we have a vertical line. The exact same logic as the x's, but this time on the y's. So we find the minimum y, we go from the minimum y to the maximum y, and visit all those points, and all those points then add it into our map here, our map of how many times the point's been visited, doing the exact same logic as above. Then here, go through our points now, count all the ones that have more than one visit, and then output that. Part 2, the exact same thing. The only difference is now that we also have to deal with the ones that are not horizontal or vertical, the ones that are diagonal. Luckily, though, the ones that are diagonal are only at 45-degree angles. This means that their step from one point to the next is always going to be 1, so we're always going to go up 1x, up 1y, or down 1x, down 1y, or some combination of up and down 1. To do this, we can get the steps, those are the distance between the x and y. This is just to know how many points we need to add to our list. And then we do this check here, which will give us the direction that the line is going. So the x direction, so if we take the second point, subtract the first point's x, you'll get a value greater than or less than 0. If it's greater than 0, we know that it's going to be increasing in the x, so we're going to take a 1, otherwise a -1. Same thing with y. If the second y is greater than the first y, we're going to go up in the y's, otherwise we'll go down in the y's. And what that means is that every step, what we can do is we can take the initial x position and then take that direction we just calculated, multiply it by I, so multiply by the step, and that will give us the next point on that line as we step through all of the steps, I guess. And I didn't actually update this one here to be the new styling. I'll do that here real quick, but this is how I had it before. This is what I changed it to. Basically, we get the 0, and then we add 1, and then put it back into points, just a little bit more condensed. I don't know if there's a quick way to do this in Java or even more condensed way to do it in Java, but this is just what I have off the top of my head. And the same thing like last time, go through all the points, count all the ones that have been visited more than one time, add to our count, output that, and that is it. Not too bad, not too hard today. I just really messed up the first part and made a dumb mistake with doing I versus Y min and whatnot, and not knowing that my I was Y min. So, at any rate though, that's all I got for you guys today for day 5. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 6. Peace out.